Coming up very soon, actually July 15th, there will be a special collaborative mint on the Stargaze blockchain. Remember, Stargaze is a specialized blockchain that only deals with NFT mints, buying and selling and trading NFTs. Well, this special mint will highlight audio-visual NFTs and will feature collections dropping all at the same time. Even though we have collections dropping all at the same time, there will actually be a very limited number of these special NFTs that day. Um, Today, my goal is to allow the creators of the unique collections to highlight the quality of their work as well as allow us to learn more about the audiovisual drop happening on Stargaze. We will also get into the artistic features and some of the utility of each collection. So thanks for clicking on my video. Let's get started and introduce the projects. The first project is Glitch Candies. They actually did mint another collection on Stargaze. I'll let the creator here introduce his team and the purpose of his project. Hey, nice to talk to you, and thanks for sharing this info with the audience.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm really pleased to be here. So it's Koshi here. I'm the artist and artistic director behind Glitch Candies. We have really awesome team, I have to say, because we are like making audiovisual art, and we're involved in video mapping events. I'm actually myself a sound designer and media artist for over a decade. So I haven't started just yet. This will be our second mint on Stargaze. But as far as our team, I have to say, like we have amazing people. I'm really blessed to have these guys because I'm working with Zureta NFT. In real life, he's working for his clients are like the major corporations, like in Web2. He has like 30 programmers under his belt. He's like CTO. So his focus is on scaling small to mid businesses, basically. And he has done it for many years for multiple companies. So I'm glad to have him help scale Glitch Candies. And another person that works with us is Fedfod, and he's really skilled, amazing programmer and also educator and media artist. And his focus is on working with MaxMSP, and he actually works for the company that develops the software that we are using. So we are using programming environment for sound and visuals for multimedia that people use in academia and in creating audiovisual installations or play live performances with. It's called Max or MaxMSP. And Fedford is actually working for Cycling74, the company that makes that programming environment. So like his code is actually we can use. So we created the software collaboratively that we use to generate glitch candies with. So like the team is awesome. It's in the industry for a long time. I'm also myself involved in NFTs for well over a year. I started like early 2021. So like not like OG when the punks were in, but a little bit later. But yeah, so I've been through different moments and different parts of that, and I always wanted to create some audiovisual works with utility.
Got it.
Because at first I've seen like there was like a rush of different projects coming in, profile pic projects,
Right.
and then so I realized it would be cool to add something to it besides being just a cool looking art, and that kind of led me looking into Decentraland.
Got it. Well, I'm definitely going to ask you about Decentraland later, but your PFP right now is a static version of the first Glitch Candies collection. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And your community voted to extend the collection, so now you're going to mint on this audiovisual mint day on Stargaze. 200 more, is that right?
Yeah,
Two,
that's correct.
200
Actually,
more.
it might be worth for me to say like a little bit of a story of Glitch Candies, because I think it's kind of compelling and cool. Because I actually met Stargaze team in Lisbon on the Cosmoverse event. And yeah, I knew that we gelled together. I think I knew these guys are really into generative art, and we're actually considering Stargaze being a generative art chain at the time. But I think like things change over time, obviously. So I was quite early. I think I joined the server like in September or something like that. Because I was looking at different NFT projects. I think the Solana NFTs were popping then.
Right.
So I thought, and I was involved in Cosmos already. So I was wondering where are NFTs in Cosmos? When are they coming? Maybe that's good, to get in early, basically, because I was an artist looking for like good home actually to mint stuff. So I spoke with them and. I applied as every other artist, and they received like 500 applications at the time, and I think that was like January, I think, or December, or even maybe February, where I get the confirmation that I'm actually gonna mint like as part of Genesis. So I was selected as part of Genesis drop,
And they
which
they
was,
selected only 15 projects for that Genesis mint, and each of the projects I think had a unique take on NFTs. You told me earlier Stargaze was unable to accommodate the audio visual effects, but you were able to add that in later after people minted the NFT. Is that right?
yes, and that was actually quite cool thing, and that what makes I think the collection a little bit more special as well, because I actually approached them to create audiovisual collection, and I started making audiovisual glitch candies. So first 83 glitch candies are actually audiovisual. First ever made glitch candies are actually audiovisual, and then
First ever on Stargaze.
no, first ever I created.
Oh, of your
Uh,
yeah.
are audiovisual. And then Shane told me, actually, we want to support video. So I replied, you know what? I can make the pictures, and then drop videos later. So the first ever made were 83. These were audiovisual. Then I was creating the collection from scratch. So I make them as pictures, and the approach was slightly different. And I can show you actually the software. And once we talk about workflow, I can show you like how they were made. So I approach them as kind of uh, printable piece of artwork, 4K resolution, so you can print it yourself, like in the like as an image and hang on the wall. That was my kind of goal for that.
But
So
the
it's not.
actual NFTs themselves, I've seen them. The static version looks like your PFP, but then they have there's a soundtrack playing while this is actually moving. It's almost, I don't know if you want to call it like a lava lamp, but that kind of like slow random movement. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, yes, and actually it's really accurate because we are using some random algorithms that are morphing the basic geometric shape and adding different colors in semi-random or pseudo-random way, or controlled randomness, basically.
Got it. All right.
But then I've seen actually like once I dropped the collection, I've seen like our community were using them as profile pics, which was like actually a surprise to me. But I thought like this is actually really cool, and we dive deeper into this idea that actually glitch candies are cool profile pics. But once we are started to be involved more in Decentraland, which we can talk in a bit, but we created the helmets as glitch candies, where people use them are as actually the head as actual their profile pic of their avatar.
I
But then
definitely
we
want to I definitely want to ask about Decentraland, but let me bring in the next project before we get into the details, and I'll have the Dansant team member explain a little bit about the 303 collection. How are you? This is Pete, why don't you give us the background on your project, the purpose of it, and talk about your team a little bit?
Yes, cool. Thanks a lot for having us on, first of all. Really appreciate being here. Our project is they're audio-visual NFTs. Each one has a techno-inspired kind of backing track, if you like, which loops. And then on top of that, the visual side of things, we've got futuristic mannequins that are performing 1920s inspired dance moves. So you've got the futuristic techno music, and then you've got futuristic mannequins dancing old school style dance moves in time with the music. The team behind it, there's three of us. The Dansant is a collective, and it comprises of two musicians, myself, Peatfish, and Get Carty. And then we also have a motion designer and visual effects artist, Weebo, who does the visuals. So Get Carty is a really experienced music producer. He's been producing music professionally for 30 years now. Ran his own record label, which was very successful. And he's also produced tracks, and he was signed to Paul Oakenfold's label as well. So he's got a lot of credibility in the music scene. Weebo has some pretty high profile credits to his name as well. He's been involved in West End Broadway shows, TV work over in the UK on our local station, the BBC, and he's now the lead designer at a software company who makes cutting edge design software that we actually use in producing the NFTs themselves. And then I'm from a music background as well. I started out as a techno DJ back in the 90s. I worked for a renowned record shop back then. And more recently, I've got into sound design and modular synthesis. I spend quite a lot of time noodling on modular synths and producing sound there. I've done a lot of collaborations with Get Carty back in the day as well. We did produce records together. But yeah, more recently, my focus has been more on the sound design things. And I'm in this particular collection, I'm the sort of artistic coordinator. So I'm sort of bringing all of the pieces together.
Got it. And I know you did mention there's some connection with, VR metaverse. We'll definitely get into that in a minute, but I definitely like the techno music background. When I was in college, I live in New York. It was, I would say, the end of the club movement, but it was still, everywhere you went, you were hearing this kind of music. And what I guess my question is, why pair it with the older dance moves? Is there an effect there that you're going for, or an irony?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of an irony. The music's quite futuristic. The actual mannequins that we've got dancing to music are quite futuristic as well. And we just thought it would be quite cool to experiment with old dance moves. So we've used mocap, which we managed to get. And we've got various dances that we've used throughout the collection, things like 1920s swing and stuff like that. And we just thought it was a bit different, and it looked pretty cool when we put it all together.
Well, sounds good. I'm definitely going to link in the description some previews to all these NFTs as they become available, and also the socials for the various projects. I'm going to bring in the third guest here. Sorry about that. I'm going to bring in the third guest here, minting their Genesis collection. The collection's called Oscillations. And Sajjra, can you hear me? I know he was having a little
Hi
bit of
everyone, I'm Sajjra, Sajjra, again. Sajjra is an interplanetary fighter, a dimensions designer, an electronic musician, a coder, a poet, and homeless, a fiction. Sajjra works as programmer and navigator in SEAACQ plc, Space Engineering and Applied Astronomy Corporation, Kwasuau plc, better known as the Syndicate, an organization of space navigation and program engineering professionals from Kwasuau recognized worldwide for the high quality of its services. Sajjra lives in the streets of Kwasuau Marker, the liberated zone. Kwasuau Marker operates as an autonomous space since the year 2030, when a group of coders and artists together with the local communities rose up to destroy the pyramidal structures and domains of certain tech corporations and banks. Kwasuau Marker would be situated in the Andean Altiplano, in areas that used to be called countries, Bolivia and Peru. Sajjra was involved in the destruction of Phobos Moon in 2079. There are rumors that Sajjra plans to destroy the planet Earth in the year 3701, at the summer equinox. Should I repeat my bio?
No, I think we got it. So there's a story. There's a storytelling element here, a fictional element to this collection. Um, my question would be, what is someone actually getting when they mint one of these NFTs?
Let me talk about the collection. Oscillations Genesis Collection is one of the first collections to mix storytelling, digital physical music releases, abstract generative audio-visual art and science fiction. Everything begins with vibrations, oscillation. Sound is the basis of all universal creation. We seek with Oscillations Genesis Collection to create new audio-visual terrains for the creation of future dimensions on all dimensional planes. Purpose of the project: art, gaming, real asset, collectible, airdrops. Well, abstract science fiction generative dimensional art, collectible with airdrops. The creation of new physical and mental dimensions begins with the creation of fictions, which will then become discourses that will change time-bound realities.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to ask some project-specific questions, if that's okay. All right. So we have a feel for the three different projects. Each one clearly has different inspiration, different backstory. And my question for Glitch Candies creator Koshi, what exactly is the connection with Decentraland? You mentioned helmets. Are these filters? Are these wearables? How does your art now play into the Decentraland metaverse?
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you're asking this question. Actually, this is also like I think interesting story, and I wanted to give a shout out to the Last Slice collective from Decentraland, and they are like the biggest collective social club I'm part of. I joined them like in the summer, and we work on different scenes and experiences for a variety of clients. One of which is Samsung, and they made metaverse experience in Decentraland and opened new store in New York. So actually, if you go to New York to the store, you get experience in real life, and then it bridges to metaverse in Decentraland. So I create sound design for those. There are guys who are doing 3D modeling, coding, and so on. And so using that expertise and experience, I wanted to incorporate that in Glitch Candies. And because like we think metaverse is the future, and we want to use whatever is available now. And I think Decentraland is the most mature decentralized metaverse available today.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of metaverses being built.
Exactly.
Decentraland, as limited as it is, it's built, right? You could
Yes.
go into Decentraland. I did it once. I wasn't that impressed, but at the same time, I don't see anything else that's could be considered close to a finished product yet.
But it has really flexible SDK. There are some limitations, but it's awesome. You know, like we made our last event. We prepared for it for like 2 weeks, and we created, you know, like multiple audiovisual experiences, like installations, There was a puzzle game. We collaborated with Signal on one of the puzzles. We had like a live streaming DJ. I played the modular synth set as well as part of the show. Yeah, there is no like, I think like all these features that Decentraland provides are quite unique. You know, like there's no other platform I'm aware of that allows you to kind of present the content in this way and add NFT utility to it, add wearable to it, and bring like revenue, like potential revenue for projects and people.
So you're able to, you know, my character is walking around Decentraland. I could see the other characters. They all look different because they have different wearables. The Glitch Candies NFT, you said it's like a helmet?
Yes, like it's basically you can create wearables of different kinds of the categories that Decentraland provides, and once you submit your wearable, it goes through the committee. One of the members of the committee is reviewing if it meets the criteria for user experience that is delivered by the Decentraland, and it has to be lower poly, so like 3,000 or 1,500 triangles, for example, is the limit of the like how complex the wearable can be. So we generated one of the Glitch Candy using our software. And we work with the slicers, with the one of the slicers, Asynchronious, Alex. Shout out to him; he's awesome. He helped us actually make it into wearable, and we airdropped our. We have legendary and epic. So epic is 1 of 1,000, legendary is 1 of 100 helmets, which basically looks like it's helmets as a category of helmet, but it actually is massive glitch candy on your head. It's just like helmets render better. That's why we selected as a helmet. You can put it as mask or whatever, but basically it looks like a glitch candy on your head. And dependent if you are a female or male character, the epic one changes texture and color, and legendary is black with the shiny colors. It has really nice emissive material. So like in Decentraland is day and night. So at night, it's like it has like really bright colors. The light comes through. So we basically gave those as a rewards for participants of our events. And we created our first event, but are planning to make monthly events because we had really high engagement of community in Decentraland, and we realized there's lots of people actually keen and enthusiastic about Glitch Candies who joined our Discord from the Decentraland community. So we kind of bridged Cosmos community, cosmonauts who came to the Decentraland. We introduced them to that. And then we also are kind of introducing Ethereum and Decentraland users into Cosmos, because we use giveaways for Glitch Candy. So they had to actually set up Kepler wallet, look at their profile on Stargaze. So it's kind of interesting bridging two communities and bringing engagement through mini games, audiovisual experiences that Decentraland allows us to create.
No, I think that's really cool. I think eventually we're going to see, probably this year, interoperable NFTs, but also mixed NFT communities, maybe even more important, because it will take some time for the NFTs to have that capability. So
100%. And Decentraland allows us, like, for example, you can create like restricted area that only holders of NFTs or wearables can access to.
So there's a gated access element to the utility of these NFTs.
Exactly. Yeah, we actually streamed our Stargaze NFTs to NFT frames using IPFS. So like normally you can put your Ethereum contract and token ID, and they would display. I kind of hacked it and just streamed from IPFS from Stargaze, and actually we've put in the gallery, created gallery, and put our OGs. Shout out to our OGs from Glitch Candies, Manimo, BTX, and Firefly. They're like really active members. And Manimo actually introduced us to Signal, who is also like one of the projects in the drop. So like we reward those kind of members, active members of the community, and we have a really awesome community, both like from the Decentraland side and from the Cosmonaut. So it's really cool to see like them kind of gelling and coming, together.
Got it. Well, then this kind of leads into what I wanted to ask Peatfish about how how his collection of audiovisual NFTs will fit into the idea of a VR world or metaverse. Would you be able to comment on that?
Yeah, sure. So our sort of vision is that we want to have a space in the metaverse, a VR space in the metaverse, that our community can come and hang out in. So we've already bought land in the metaverse, which is it's a newer metaverse that is aiming to be the first VR metaverse out there. And my vision as as a sort of coordinator is that I want to see us to have one of the first, if not the first, nightclub, VR nightclub in that space. I want to host events that the community has a say in. I want the community to have a say in how those events look. And so, what one idea I had was that we could perhaps recreate some of the old techno nights of the 90s, for example, and potentially get the old DJs involved. And to gain access to that, you would have to hold one of the NFTs. That's how you would get into that club and experience that night. But what we're really keen on is that whilst network is being developed, we want to build our community through holding several limited NFT drops, and each NFT drop will be shaped by the community to a degree. So we'll have votes on how they want that next drop to look. We might give say 5 different options, and whichever one people vote on, whichever receives the most votes, would influence the way that drop would look. And we'll move towards a date when we can, finally launch the club, and at the same time grow our community. And yeah, I'm quite excited about it, because we've got a starting point that we've designed ourselves, but the next drop that we do after this will be partly designed by the community. That's the aim, anyway.
Got it. So, because of the kind of uniqueness and the quality of these NFTs, it seems like we did talk a little bit before we were recording. There are plans to keep the community engaged and even grow the community, even though the market conditions are not ideal, especially for new mints. I have a question now for Oscillations in terms of the features of the art, the metadata of your NFTs. Can you please explain what people are getting in terms of the features?
Thanks for your questions. Well, utility or benefit to owners of the NFT. Its main benefit is to be part of an audiovisual community, a community based on the creation of audiovisual dimensions and fictions. You can play, remix and combine your Oscillations Genesis collection. You can interact with other Oscillations Genesis audiovisual loops on the marketplace or your wallet, as living audiovisual generated art. Oscillations Genesis collections to mix storage, digital physical music releases, abstract generative audiovisual art and science fiction. Within 12 months we intend to collect all the tales and stories generated by the interactions of the community. We seek to publish a sci-fi graphic novel, based on each NFT, a piece of terrain of a certain dimension in creation, as well as we seek to capture these experiences within multiple metaverses. Special features of the Oscillations Genesis Collection Full HD Audio-Visual loops. Each animation is a representation of a terrain of a dimension in the process of creation. Several animations together reveal more details of this dimension. There is no map or path. All combinations are possible. The dimensions are expanded and created each time the audio-visual animation loops are combined.
Got it. Thank you for that. And now I just have a couple of general questions that any of the artists can answer about the audio visual mint itself. It seems like this is a way to highlight the quality and the fact that these NFTs are going to be in kind of a category of their own. Would anyone like to talk about the idea of an audiovisual event that Stargaze is hosting, basically especially for your style NFTs?
Yeah, I can comment on this if you guys don't mind, or can start. So I thought it would be a really cool idea to create something like that, highlighting the audiovisual functionality on Stargaze, because there's no other collections that have been released that are audiovisual, and that's what we wanted to do, to actually highlight that functionality. And by releasing, because like we released as Glitch Candies, we released audiovisual collection as an airdrop to our holders of Genesis Glitch Candies, which were pictures. So 400 of those Glitch Candies are actually on the marketplace, and you can play with them. And they are made with kind of interaction in mind, meaning that if you play a few multiple ones at the same time, you can create like a remix or like generative piece based on the different NFTs that are on marketplace, which is really cool. Like I made it on purpose. We at the time I was thinking more about Decentraland from with that idea, and bridging those NFTs into Decentraland. So like quite a long way in, but actually playing, and once I was testing the collection on the marketplace, I realized that actually they play really well with the layout and with the tools and the interface that Stargaze has already, because you can basically you can play multiple NFTs at the same time. You can control volume of them. You can control the speed of the visual and audio like together in the player. So you can create generative pieces, and I call it as a living generative art, because participants are the actual sellers and the holders of NFTs that choose to put the NFT on the marketplace. So there is only like 20 or 40 candies out of 400 that are on the marketplace, and you can see only those. You can go to individual wallets to see them, but yeah, it's a bit of a hassle. But if you want to play multiple ones, this is the only way how you can do it. Unless you hold multiple in your wallet, then you can do that too.
Right. I'll definitely link your secondary marketplace link below so people can check that out. I think what's cool about the audiovisual NFTs is if you could let people preview and then explain what's possible, I think it will get more people interested, especially people who only thought of, JPEG NFTs prior to this.
Yeah, and also like with our new collection, because this is gonna be the one we are actually dropping is gonna be called Gen 2. So it's Glitch Candies Gen 2. It was voted by our community to have additional 200. We gave them few options. How many Glitch Candies audiovisuals should we create? And they voted extra, like they voted for 600. Basically, so 400 airdrop and 200 were meant to be on sale. So we kind of
your community voted to expand.
Yep.
Right. I would say most NFT communities would vote the opposite. They would say, "Oh, burn the supply." Right. They want to shrink the collection, and for this mint, there's not that many minting. Even if you take into account all the collections together, it's under 1,000 total NFTs. Is that right?
It might be few more, but it's definitely like 30% of the usual profile pic,
Yeah.
Because I don't know like how many in total, but it's like around 1,000, let's say, like all combined. So in the whole drop from all the artists, so it will be really limited, really limited drop. And each artist brings actually totally different workflow. Some of them are generative, like Glitch Candies are generative, but others are like well produced. Other projects can talk about it as well. That how they are making, like it's. I think like Signal is releasing 10 or 20. I don't remember the number, but they are like well produced NFTs only. Like ours are generative, but we use specific software for that, and actually the way of creating glitch candies, they're like sculptures. They're handmade, I call them, because I actually have my controller connected. I tweak them, and each NFT is actually rendered real time, and I improvise with the music. So like music is actually WAV file, but I improvise with the visual to the music. So like actually to match the aesthetics. So like each is individually made. They are not like I don't press button and generate whatever 1,000 and then select or whatever. I use different methods. And actually the cool feature of them as well is our Genesis collection and audiovisual collection, they share the same JSON files because I use them as presets. So I can actually load the preset of the Genesis collection, and it actually is moving. Like I just select one frame of that, and that's the picture. But audiovisual Glitch Candy, it's the movie of the length of the audio file. So audio file is the perfect loop, and they are like from 20 seconds to 2 minutes. So they're quite long, actually. So it's like a piece. And then on the top, you can combine few and make like remixes. And in our new collection, we will use more complex and higher quality kind of renders with metallic shapes, with kind of slightly different objects they're based on. And we have a patch which actually we utilize for making the helmets that will be used to create the candies. So actually each frame can be made as a 3D model, can be exported as 3D model. So we are planning actually to give like airdrops as 3D models to the community as well, of who receive, like who actually purchases those, or who mints these.
Got it. What you mentioned was actually something similar in line with a question that I had for 303. I was wondering if you had to specifically match up music to the specific dancing mannequins, or if it was randomly done, and then you'd have to go through the collection and take out what doesn't make sense. How does that work?
Yeah, well, we started with the music. The music is basically produced manually, or it's put together manually. It's produced using random loops. So we make a lot of loops randomly, and then Get Carty kind of painstakingly puts them together into a loop. So he arranges it manually. And the reason that he does that is that because it's beat-based music, it's practically impossible to randomly generate a loop that will groove and sound as good as a proper record. Because the idea behind our collection is that the music will sound as good as a proper released techno track, like an excerpt from a proper released techno track. And the only way to do that is to do it manually. It takes quite a long time to get it to and to get it to loop as seamlessly as possible as well. So we've done that, and then the visual side of it, Weibo receives the loops from Get Carty and then creates the visuals around that music, and various elements within the visual will be impacted partly by randomness and partly by elements of the music. So it kind of like fits together in that way. There's a lot of manual process in the way that we produce.
Right. These are difficult. I mean, it sounds like they're difficult to make. You're even delegating the work out for different elements of the same NFT. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. We have traits. So there will be there's up to 10 different traits, including the backing track. But yeah, the music's very much made in the first instance, and then all of the visual side of it is completed as a second part of the exercise. What we've tried to do is they're not generative in so much as they're not randomly kind of generated, but there will be certain traits that are extremely rare in certain NFTs, and others that are a bit more common. So you're still going to get a spread of some NFTs that are really, really rare. Maybe there may be one trait that's only in one NFT and that's it, and then there may be another trait that's in 50. So
these will appeal to the collectors.
You still got an element of surprise when you mint as to whether you're going to get a rare one or not, really, as well, which we wanted. because I think that's quite a fun part of the minting process. Certainly a bit of the minting process that I've enjoyed over the last sort of year and a half where I've been minting NFTs.
It appeals to like the gambler and the collector and everybody, right? You want
yeah,
you would
exactly.
almost rather mint than buy something that's right there on the secondary market that you know you want. It's like, well, I could get something better if I mint, right? You never that part of it. You know, I did something dumb recently. I sold an NFT for cheaper than what I bought it for just so I can mint, but then I got something even better. So I felt so smart when I did that, but it's really not. It's gambling, but I think everyone in crypto has a little gamble in them to begin with. So I think that the rarity chart, or just the idea of rarity in, you know, let's say tiers of traits will definitely appeal to a lot of people. I guess my last question could be answered by any of you or all of you. You know, at first glance, it looks like some of these collections are kind of standalone art projects where you're buying these based on, you know, obviously the complexity, the uniqueness of the NFT, or maybe the reputation of the artist. But it sounds like some of these NFTs are used almost like a DAO token. Do any of you consider your project to be evolving into a DAO? Was it intentional? Is it kind of just how things are going in terms of how you have to interact or take direction from your community? Would anyone care to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that the intention is necessarily for it to be a DAO, but it may end up becoming a DAO over time.
Understood.
So at the moment, it's very much about the community helping to shape our direction. We have an end goal in mind, but I could quite easily see, as time goes on, the community taking more and more and more of an active role in what happens until we get to the point where the community is pretty much deciding what happens. I mean, that could definitely happen. And I think part of the beauty and the excitement behind it for us anyway is that we don't really know at this stage. It's all very much up in the air, and we're just going to let it grow organically. And I think just thinking about it, I mean, I think that there is a very good chance that if you let that process follow itself through, the end result will be a DAO, right? I mean,
Yeah, or at least something taking some elements from a DAO, right? To give the community a kind of a voice in the direction of the project. Not only can give takes a little bit of the load off the artist, because now, you know, I feel like the challenge is to make something that you want to make, but also that someone else wants to buy, and you get input from the community in this way. They could stay more engaged, and the artist can make things that there's already some quantifiable demand for in the market.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly the idea.
Well, I'll make sure that any promotional materials that the individual projects are releasing, I'll make sure those links are in the description, and we'll update that as it gets closer to the mint. Maybe we'll have multiple videos with the different projects as well as it gets closer. But thank you guys for coming on and explaining this. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing of these types of projects in detail, so I definitely appreciate it. If anyone's listening made it this far into the video, definitely appreciate the listeners and the viewers as well.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was awesome.
All right,
Yeah,
take
cheers.
care.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Take care.